Welcome back. Here I am again, Kendo Makama, to hang out with Muzi Masina on Rugby Scamtho, out here in Melville at Mozambique. A really cool restaurant with some of the best cappuccinos I've had in a while. My man, how are you doing? It's been some time.
You know, I enjoy my cappuccino.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Are you almost finished with yours, isn't it?
I'm nearly there.
You know, one of the biggest things that I think are a pity is that we haven't actually been able to hang out with Noli for some time now.
Yeah.
I know that, she was ill at some point, and then she got better, and then she started playing again.
Now she's back playing. You know, women's rugby. It started again in the Gauteng region, so she's busy, and there will be some few games that will be televised anyway.
Yeah, we should take some time and go, catch her in action.
Yeah,
maybe do that. Have a ringside seat, right, just on the side of the arena, and just have a chat with Nolly.
Yeah.
You know, talking about amateur rugby, the rugby that's been going on in the Varsity Shield and Varsity Cup has been quite interesting. Recently, we had the final. Yeah. CPUT against the All Blacks.
Well,
what a match!
Look, it was expected. I mean, these two teams just playing against each other and all that stuff. But I mean, obviously, everyone thought that Wusu will probably just come up on tops, but it was not to be. And CPUT really just played very well. It was just one of those things where everything is just working for them, because earlier onto the game, I think there's about 10 minutes left. It was all about, the CPUT that scored a brilliant try, which I really thought that it was going to be the try that would be really just sealing the whole match. And then that try was disallowed, so they were back in action again, just playing until that last-minute try that they scored, which I really thought that it was brilliant. Yeah. It's exactly what we've been expecting from these two universities. Drama, excellent, cries, happiness, skill, everything was there, displayed, and obviously with the guys really just playing very well. A little bit sad about the Wusu, story just before they play into the final, because they had a little bit of some issues.
I wanted to touch on that.
Varsity, their big bosses right up on top there in the boardroom, which I really felt very bad for the players. You do not, not feed the rugby players. You do not give them the right food. So for me, it was very painful just to hear that.
Do you know if it got resolved, if it's been sorted out?
No, not. Honestly, I don't know whether it was resolved and just all that
it's
stuff.
It's terrible though.
But then again, I really believe that the players probably just took the decision that, okay, you know what, irregardless of what, let's just actually go out there and make sure that we finish off the job.
And
whether it's been resolved and just all that stuff. But then again, at this day and age, in the university level, I mean, we know that it's not professional, it's probably semi-professional. You do not really just do such things and don't really just players what they wanted. They were not even asking the money. I think, yes, there was money involved there, but I really felt as if, even if you don't really just give them the money, but just give them the proper resources, the proper place to sleep. If they quarantine, you got to make sure that they're in a very decent place. The food is there, the facilities is there just to train. Because if you don't do that, it's probably going to affect it. I'm not saying that they lost the game because of that. You never know, Perhaps maybe there was a little bit of 2 or 5% of them not really being 110% for them just to win the cup. But then again, just credit to CPUT, because really, Alistair, with the coach that I know, they've done superbly with that team. They were fitter this year, they were more prepared, the structured team, and then they had quite a few nice game breakers, which I really felt that, it was good just to have them in that team.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I think it was really very good. We're talking about really good rugby at that level. We also have the Varsity Cup continuing. They're not done with their competition yet. And it's pretty much, it seems like it's going to be the usual suspects again.
You're so correct. Apart from CUT, which at this stage they're actually sitting on the 3rd position, but it's just a normal, UCT, Ducks, CUT that just came in at 3rd, Martis is at 4, but they still got, maybe just 2 games to play it, and then Perka at 5. So it's going to be between those 5 teams, which I really think that anyone can really play into the top 4. Perhaps maybe just to, see any one of these teams playing in a final. I think the good thing about this is that we did touch on it, a couple of weeks back, that it's actually free for all, It's not in Marties, in Stellenbosch, the semi-final. So hence now even the results are not really showing that much. Definitely the crowd made a big impact with the players, and there's no two-way about it. And then it really just helps all the other teams as well just to do well. But then those are the teams that we are going to be looking for just to see, and you never know what can happen. It's still a long, long way to go.
Talk about a long, long way to go. It's something that the former Super Rugby franchises will not be going a long way.
Yeah.
In the Rainbow Cup, the Stormers, the Bulls, the Lions, Sharks, once again relegated to playing each other again. Jeez. I know, they played each other in the Super Rugby Unlocked last year. They played each other in the Curry Cup. They're now playing each other in the Rainbow Cup, the Pro 14 Rainbow Cup. And we just found out a couple of weeks ago that they're not going to be traveling to Europe because they couldn't get the permissions right.
Yeah, look, it's a big challenge from the South African point of view, I mean, for the players' point of view, from the coaching point of view, and of course from the Springbok point of view, because you would like, you know, just to get a run against the players that you are going to be meeting in the British Lions tour, which is going to be happening very soon, you know, but what, 2 months to go now, and, you know, so it's just around the corner. However, I kind of understand, you know, why our teams are not going to be going overseas. That's right. It's just an issue of
COVID-19,
the vaccine,
right?
COVID-19 and all this stuff. But then again, I mean, for the players, I mean, those 4 teams, the Stormers, the Lions, the Bulls, and the Sharks, they probably know each other to the T.
Yeah, they probably know
this
all
week
their
again,
calls.
they're still going to be playing against each other. Yeah. Although, you know, last week the Bulls won, and then of course the Sharks are actually just winning against the province team. But then again, you know, it's still, irregardless of what, I think as a player, one thing that you strive for is just to get that game time.
Do you think that there's been any difference in the intensity of play, the level of play from those 3 competitions I just mentioned, and the third one being the current Rainbow Cup? We've just had one round of it. Has there been a difference?
Yeah. Look, Curry Cup was terrible. You know, let's not lie about it. You know, there's no two way about it. It was very bad because it was when the players just really started to play on. I think now in this Rainbow, you know, Cup, competition, saw, you know, some very good rugby last week and all that stuff. And then of course, I think this week again, we're expecting them to really just play very well. Lions against the Stormers in Johannesburg, and we all know that the Bulls won last week away. Now they're back at home against the Sharks. The Sharks won last week, so we should be really getting some very good games at this coming weekend.
With that said, I would imagine that one of the big things on everybody's minds is what happens with Springbok selections.
Yeah, look,
because all of this really is to try and get game time. I mean, Elton Yankees had to go overseas.
Yeah, he played his first game last week.
Yeah, and
which is good.
Did you get a chance to see how he did?
No, I haven't, to be honest, but I will try and see if I can look at some stuff in the YouTube. But I mean, Elton will be probably Elton. He's probably going to get there and try just to run the show. He's always good, you know. We know what he can do. And another player that played, I think it's about 2 weeks now in a row. It's another fly half from the South African point of view. Pollard just had a game as well. Obviously, he didn't play the whole game.
When last did we see Pollard play? It's been almost 2 years now.
The last time the Boks won, actually. So he's back in action as well now. He's just having a game time. Looking at the South African franchise, who we have here, I've heard that there's a big talk about the Sharks number 10.
All right.
He might be the starter or what, but I really doubt that, you know, Kevin Bosch will be the starting fly for the Springbok team if they have to play even tomorrow. We all know that he's still got lots to work on. But then again, there's quite a few players that, are back in action. Steph du Toit from the Stormers played his first game last week. So he played the whole game. So I think it's very good as well. So that little bit of game time that the guys are playing, it will be very good. I mean, the whole front row of the Stormers, they played last week. So there are some players that are really just getting their groove on together. Look at overseas, what we've got. Mampimpi just played in the semi-final last week. Jan Ackerman, which is the coach of one of the teams there in Japan, and with Vili Leroux, and then going overseas as well in Europe, some of the players, the Faf de Klerks, we've been talking about him. He's been playing there, and then all the couple of players that are really just playing overseas. So, and I won't be surprised if you're looking at the core team of the Boks being perhaps maybe like 60% of overseas team, and maybe 40% of the teams that are playing here at home, purely because I think probably Russell will try and see, he will probably just look at the performance based and see which players are in form, and probably just try and see if we can start them very early on into the competition.
Yeah, it's a very nice segue you took in from the Rainbow Cup into the Springbok selections for the British and Irish Lions tour, because that's exactly what everybody was hoping would happen through the Rainbow Cup. That our players would get game time, that they'd get game time against opposition other than homegrown opposition. That's not happening, as we mentioned a little earlier. But the coolest thing about all of that is that, as you said, we have had a lot of South African players playing in the Northern Hemisphere, playing in the for those clubs in England as well as in France, in Japan as well. And do you really think it's going to be that high a selection of possibly 60% from overseas-based players versus 40% from local?
Look, to be honest, if you're looking at the players that are playing here at home currently, there's not too many that you can really just choose from to say, okay, fine, you are starting next week. We're playing against the All Blacks or Australia and just any other team. You know, you could see that some of the players, they still need a little bit of some work. And I wouldn't be surprised as well to take those players that are overseas, because remember, you need a little bit of experience, you know, the test experience, you know, the pressure that comes with it and all that stuff. So I think the couple of those players that we're talking about, they're really active overseas and they're playing and they're doing well and they're not really performing badly. So which I really felt as if perhaps maybe if Russ is just overlooking at his players that he's looking for, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the bulk of all those players that are there. I mean, we got to be honest. Let's just look at the Stormers. Definitely, you know, they're tied 5. You know, they're 2 props. You know, Bongi Bonambi, you know, and Kitchoff definitely, you know, will be considered as well. Looking at Malherbe, you definitely going to be looking forward to try and see and play those 3. And then if looking at their locks, they kids. There is no way he's going to pick those. So now, this is where you're going to say, what do I have overseas? You know, who's playing there overseas? It's up on form there. Is he playing? Is he giving? Is he...
He just had his first match recently, right? I mean,
from his game time broken and all that stuff.
Broken finger, he's only just come back on.
Exactly. Just looking at the Sharks. I mean, you're looking at their tight 5. Yeah, perhaps maybe you can use them as their backup. But looking at their locks, who's there? Ooh, maybe Hugo as a lock forward who's played for the Cheetahs, who scored 3 tries last week. Perhaps maybe that could be the guys that can be thrown into the mix. And looking at their loose forwards, what do you have? Yes, Sia, you do have there, but then again, you need about 6, you know, or even 8 loose forwards.
I've got a question that's going to throw a spanner in the works here.
Yeah.
Do you think, what kind of style of rugby do you think they'll be playing? Considering the fact that there's been a lack of game time, that the Springboks as a unit have not played a test since the Rugby World Cup in 2019.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll be going for the safe, old school, play for territory, kick the ball, put them under pressure, and then work from there? Do you think that's what they'll be doing?
I think we'll be stupid if the Boks can move away from what worked for them in years, in million years, in donkey's years, in 1960s, in 1970s, and all that stuff. Purely, it's a physical game, forward dominated. Make sure that, you know, I beat you, you beat me, I must be more powerful than you and all that stuff. And then you just lay the platform out there, you know, for the backline players and all that stuff. I think it could be the combination of both. I'll tell you why. Because we're playing at home, and the weather is going to suit us. It's nice and dry. It's not wet, and it suits our players. The likes of Chelsea, Colby, the Mampimpis of this world, where they really excel very well when it's dry. You know what I mean? We can really just play a combination of 2. You know, patterns. But then again, I really believe that, you know, we mustn't shy or move away from our core, the way we've been doing very well in terms of the Springbok team, and make sure that there's so much fire right up there, up in front.
At number 10, it's a big question. At number 10, most recently, you know, there are a lot of people that are clamoring for Morné Steyn at 36 years old to be included in the final Springbok squad selection. What is that? That speaks to a couple of things. One is that there aren't a lot of fly halves that are putting their hands up to say, I am the standout fly half. Andre Pollard has been out, as we've mentioned. Elton Yankees was hardly getting game time. He said he just got his first match last week out in France for a really a lowly team in France, we must say. And there's a Cohen Bosch, and Morné Steyn is the one that a lot of fans are saying should be the one who's leading the team. Where do you think our fly half, the winds? Where do you think the winds blow for the fly half position?
Look, I think it's going to be very difficult just to pick a fly half now to say, okay, fine, have a go. I mean, you're right. I mean, the way you've just actually mentioned them, Pollard, he hasn't played. It's been 2 years now, if I'm not mistaken. So, do you really want to throw an undercooked Pollard out there? to play? That's another story.
Or
do you need him just for an experience point of view and an aura of him being there? That's another question. You see that?
And I think another thing that people that I used to forget was that regardless the person, there are people around that person who haven't been playing with him, so they can't read him.
Exactly.
Until it's too late sometimes.
Exactly, you know. And then you're looking at Elton Yankees.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually played that much as well. I mean, he played his first game last week. Apart from that, he hasn't really played that much because there was a break here as well. I mean, he played the Curry Cup, and all that stuff. And then, honestly, when Elton Yankees was here at home, he didn't really, have this great, awesome, excellent game at 10. You could see that it's thereabout, but it's not the Elton that we all know when he's firing with all cylinders. Right. Now we're looking at the Sharks. I mean, Kevin Bosch. Jesus, he can be brilliant. He can be so brilliant in everything with kicking, kicking to the corners, just breaking the line and all that stuff. But the question is that has it been really tested in that level against the British Lions as well?
Yep.
Which, remember, the British Lions, it's not a just team. It's 4 nations combined, the best in Europe. Which
we're going to talk about just now, because there's apparently been quite a ruckus out there in those nations about the selections that Warren Gatland made, right? We'll touch on that shortly.
Yeah, we will definitely. and then you just wonder. I mean, you look at him and say, okay, fine, he plays, he's good, but there were games where they were very tight, pressured games where he didn't come through. So that's going to be another factor where Russell will say, can I? Maybe yes, maybe let me throw him there.
Once again, he means Jacques.
All that stuff. Well, Jacques, I always say Rusty.
We know you mean Jacques Minaba.
And now, once again, you're looking at Morne Steyn.
Yeah.
What has he done? Can he still steady the ship? Possibly yes. Fine. Is he quick enough? Is he less enough? I mean, is he keen enough to really go out there? Morne Steyn has won it all, to be honest. So is he really keen just to say, okay, fine, can I do this thing one more time? Is he actually fitting onto Erasmus' plans?
Did he beat the British last time?
Yes, he did. He was the one that kicked that last penalty.
Oh, yes.
I mean, just a 50-meter kick as well.
Yeah.
And does he really want to do it again? Is he keen to do it? Is Rassie Erasmus looking at him and say, can I use this guy in my plan? So I think it's a very tough one, for all us as South Africa to say which is the correct flower half that we need in order for us to take us further.
Do you know what else is also tough?
Yeah.
Faf de Klerk. Faf de Klerk is almost a shoo-in at Scrummy.
Yeah.
But who would deputize him? Are we looking at Ivan van Sail, Herschel Yankees?
Herschel Yankees is playing this week.
Are we looking at...
he was injured as well.
What about Kobus Reinach?
Kobus Reinach overseas is doing well. And I've heard that, Hoogat might be coming back, from the Bulls. Ogie as well, because Jake White is probably getting almost everyone from Europe. So I think there's, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a total different Springbok team that we're seeing and say, wow, this guy's in and all that stuff. Because I think it's purely going to be, boys, this is a once-off. This comes once in your lifetime as a player. Go for it. Make sure that we bring the win and all the stuff.
Captain, are we going to keep the same captain, you think?
Yeah, I mean, Sia is playing.
Yep.
He had some nice, 60 minutes last week. I think he's still he looks fit. He looks very good in shape.
Yep.
I wouldn't say that he's probably playing his best rugby now, but I think it's just ticking some few boxes as well.
Centers?
It's difficult.
Centers, Conor Hendricks, Lucanio M.
Hendricks, definitely. Yep. Lucanio M has been captaining the team very well, for these Sharks. And there's another centre that is playing overseas as well. I'm just to name he was playing for the Stormers. How can I forget him? He's playing for Munster. What's his name again? I will just come back to it again.
You will tell us.
Dielende as well. It's at centre, who has been very steady, for the Munster team and overseas. So I think we've got enough in the centres, if you ask me.
You know what I forgot? I forgot to speak about the loose forwards.
Yeah.
We did touch on no, we didn't actually. Let's talk about the loose forwards. We just spoke a little bit about Sia being captain, but around him, who do we have?
Yeah, Dwayne van Meulen is still playing well.
The Colossus.
He's been just going.
Yeah.
He's been going. We saw what he can do. We'll see him definitely this week again.
Yeah.
And then look, I think he's still got, at least for me, I should say Dwayne has got maybe another 2 more years that I think he can really just give a lot from South African rugby point of view. And I wouldn't be surprised as well after this Lions tour, and then he just retires, because guess what? He has done it all as well. He's been there, done that. He's won the World Cup. He's won the series, if the Boks win it. Yeah. And then what more else to be there? You know, perhaps maybe they might be roping him in as the senior player that will be bringing in all the up and young and coming youngsters in South Africa, especially for the Bulls.
You know, like our producer for the show a little earlier was asking me about Skhumbuzo Noche.
Yeah.
And how he would fit into that forward pack.
Yeah, well, you can.
You know,
you can. Let me tell you something. So if you've got Sia, just for an argument's sake, you've got a Dwayne.
Yeah.
You'll need someone else that can link, quite a bit with the backline players. With Skhumbuzo Noche, he's got the flair and all the stuff. He's not a hard.
Does he have the BMT though?
He does. He does. And it's going to be dry weather, and then we're going to be playing at home. Yeah. And he will definitely want just to prove the point as well. So I think we've got enough.
Marvin Orie, we didn't speak about Marvin Orie out at the Stormers, and how he's been performing there. Has he done enough to earn a place in a Springbok squad, you think?
Definitely. It's probably one of the best line-out jumpers, and then the line-out general in terms of just calling the line-out and all there. You'll need to have him. Even if it's not starting, you'll need to have someone else in his caliber, with his experience, even if he comes in, right at the end of the last 20, 30 minutes just to finish off the job, because irregardless of what, the players in his caliber, which I really thought that, the Lions lost a very big player there, going to the Stormers and all that stuff, and I think he's enjoying it to the Stormers. I've seen him, a couple of weeks back there. He's having so
him
much
and
fun.
Bongi are connecting nicely.
Definitely. I mean, the line-out, percentage has been pretty good, and all that stuff, and it's a very smart player as well. He's got some leadership qualities. Not too many people know that he did captain Tuks University way back for the Varsity Cup. So he's the man that can still really just put on a little bit of some pressure to all the top number 4s or number 5s in this country.
Now, I know we're moving in the wrong direction because we're all almost at the wings. But I want to ask you about Marco van Staden quickly.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, he's on Jake White's plan, obviously, with the Bulls, and then I think Rassie Erasmus likes him, because you can have your Skhumbuzo Noches and your Dwayne van Mullen, but you still want to have that mongrel, if you know what I mean, the guy that will just always going to be right there, looking for the ball all the time, slowing down the ball. A player with his caliber, you'll need it. Let's look at the history. We had Brassot a long time ago. Yeah. Robin Kruger was like that. I'm talking about all the history now of all the flank forwards that we used to have in this country. Yeah. You got to have a player like that, even if he's not starting, for the first time, but you just got to have him in the mix, because they're very critical. You can't play without the ball. So those are the players that loves to slow down the ball or to steal the ball. At the right time, at the right place.
Let's go back to where we were going initially. So we played around a little bit on the centers, the wings. I've even heard overseas commentators saying the first person that you draft into the Springbok squad is a diminutive guy by the name of Cheslin Colby, who's arguably one of the best wings to have ever played the game of rugby. Is he a shoo-in? He's a small guy, but he does amazing things for his French team out there. He's a shoo-in, I would imagine.
He's been good. He's one of the players that after the World Cup, I never really just actually dropped his form.
He just
keep on going. Keep on going. Hopefully he's not going to be injured and all that stuff. Yeah. And of course, let's look at Pimpi as well. He's done very well. Yeah. However, he hasn't played too many games. But I mean, for the past couple of weeks, just playing in Japan, he's been performing. You see, that's the thing. So you got to bring those players to come in here and just perform. So those could be our really just two wings. I'm not seeing any surprises. Even if we look at the South African wings here that can really just make it up on top there. I really just don't see anyone else that can really just surprise everyone.
Fullback?
Are you asking me, or Rassie, or Jasmine Abiman select?
I'm asking you. Select, because I mean, it's up in the air, isn't it?
I would play the Midnight Express for me.
Oh, yeah.
The fullback from the Sharks.
Oh yeah.
Apele Lefase for me, I think he has done very well, and I think he's ready.
Can he handle the pressure?
I think he has.
Because he's going to be under pressure.
He has done that.
He's going to be under serious pressure.
He can handle the pressure. I mean, I'm yet to sit down and analyze or look at all the games that he has played for the Sharks and say, he was under pressure. He didn't really do that well. Okay. Apart from him being injured, yes, that's understandable. I mean, apart from that, I really think that he's ready.
And his decision making, runs,
he's excellent. He is excellent. He can actually give us more. I'll tell you why. Because he's very good with the ball in hand. Look at Willy Leroux. Even if we can say, okay, Willy must start, he's got an experience. But I think personally, in terms of the setup and gameplay, in terms of creating stuff, definitely the Midnight Express for me, he's the one for me. Well, that's me though. It's not Jock Ninabe, that's my selection.
One of the benefits, and sometimes like slightly like off-putting things, is having a producer who really knows his rugby. You know, because every now and then they'll be asking you like, why don't you speak about this? Like Cheslin Colby at number 15, for example, is a question that I definitely need to bring into this.
Yeah. He has played there.
And then that literally makes space for Spunkosi to come in at 14.
Well, you see, that's going to be depending on the the coaching side up. What are you really looking for? I mean, if you bring in Spoo, what are you going to be losing, in terms of the wing? But you bring in Spoo, you bring in the bulk, you bring in the physical presence, you bring in the hungry player, you bring in the very hard, good defense. So I think there's lots that we can play around in terms of our back three and all that stuff. And then, exactly. I was just trying to look at Hendricks as well. You can still play at wing, but then again, perhaps maybe he's been settled very well now at inside center. It could be the guy that can be played at inside center.
All right, cool. Now, like 60 to 90 seconds on the British and Irish Lions. Right?
The team.
Johnny Sexton, not coming.
Vanapola, the big eighth man, is not coming.
I
think that's a big loss, eh?
There's a couple of players who a lot of people expecting to be just, Alan Wynne-Jones as captain. I think he's 34. He's balding. The guy's balding.
But he still jolts, eh? He can still jolt. I think he's a good leader. He was here before, when they lost it. Before, when they were touring here in South Africa, he was still young. But then a guy who's probably older, young, wiser, more experienced.
The highest number of Scottish players in the British Irish Lions ever. I think some like 8 of them were selected. A whole lot of English players crying. Literally, I saw an interview of one of the props who recently won a man of the match, almost in tears for not having been selected.
That's it. That's a Sinclair, the prop that I wanted us just to talk about.
So, please, in a minute or less.
Look, it's a good squad. It's a very good squad, very balanced squad with experience, with youth as well. But then again, we know Gatland, he's got a funny way of doing things. He's not shy away just by dropping the players. It doesn't really matter who. And I think he's got a plan. Look, Gatland as well, he's the only coach looking at all the European teams that has really given the Springbok team hard time. We haven't won too many games against the Wales when he was coaching there. I think if I remember, it's probably 2 or 1. You know what I mean? All the time, he knew how to plan for us. He knows exactly what he's looking for and all that stuff. So it's really surprising as well just not to have these players. Tuilangi as well, that's another big center from England that I probably thought that he was going to bring so that he can match us physically, but he's not there. Vanapola at 8th man, he's the player that I would definitely pick. He will give you the go for it and all that stuff. But then again, perhaps maybe he's got all the other ideas. And he plans very well. And then and it's a good thing just to have quite a few Scotland players around, because they've done very well, in their Six Nations. We all know that. And then of course with Wales, who really just won it very nicely with the bulk of the players that are in. And then of course, with England, still picking the Maratoges of this world, because regardless of what, he could be the guy that, if anything happens, he could be the guy that can take the team and probably just captain the team. But I think they'll be very thin when you look at their number 10s. That's my opinion. Without Sexton there, you gotta have him there, because that experience of him, yes, he's a little bit older, but that experience, even if he's not starting. But I mean, if the other young number 10s are looking at the back, they know that, hey, if I don't perform, they can just pull him in. It's a good thing to have. But then again,
the one thing that I want to add before we go is literally the one single test that has been confirmed for the Springboks to play is against Georgia. Now, Georgia have done pretty well in their qualifier for the next World Cup. In fact, I think they've won the last 4 matches. But is it good enough as a prep, or is it just use what you get? Is that the situation?
I think it is. I'll tell you why. Georgia is probably one of the most physical team that you can play against. Probably not smartest. I think Grassi, once again, I'm saying Grassi, Jock Ninabe is just trying to prepare the guys for the physical onslaught, or for the type of rugby, or the physicalness that he will need when the British Lions are here. And then of course, so you don't want to really play against a team that will beat you by 50 points. Get a team that you know that they're tough, but you can win. because that helps us all with the confidence of the players.
No, good one. Thank you very much. We were rushed for time because there was so much to talk about. It's been too long since we last did this. Muzi, Mac, Masina, thank you.
Yeah, maybe next week we must try and see if we can touch on club rugby. It has started.
We should see.
Gauteng, but we'll probably just chat about it next week.
No, that'd be very cool. That'd be very cool. We're out here at in Melville at Mozambique. You are listening to, you're watching actually, not even just listening, you're watching it too. Rugby Scamtho with me, Kendall Makamate, and Muzi Masina. Hopefully we get Noli joining us soon. But do the thing, like, subscribe, Rugby Scamtho on your screen.